What's Howie Roseman going to do? I picked 32 this offseason. Did he already give us a little hint to not overreact? What did he have to say? What did Nick Sirianni have to say yesterday as well? Joel Embiid's knee sounds like it's cooked. Sounds like it's done. We're going to talk about breaking hips to fix knees. And I think I came up with the perfect Phillies lineup. And maybe we'll do a mock draft as well. Trending in the AM, we're live, taking all your thoughts and opinions and everything else in 30 seconds.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 woo!
And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM, right here on the STT Sports Network. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. It's free to do. Share this show out. Tell one, tell all that the STT Sports Network and Trending in the AM is the #1 morning show in Philadelphia, the only place where your opinions matter. And we got lots to talk about today, but the first thing that happens is you hit that like button, you hit that subscribe button, and you hit that share button. There's the race to 500 subscribers. We're starting the show. 446. We're 54 away from the first big threshold in the YouTube world. So do me that favor, hit those buttons, take care of it, and let's get going. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, found on social media at Beard and Knowledge. And guys, we're talking Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni speaking yesterday at the NFL Combine. Some interesting little tidbits from the two of them. We are going to discuss that at length today because what Howie Roseman had to say, will it impact your opinion on what he will do or won't do in free agency, in the draft, etc. We're also going to talk about Joel Embiid's knee and some of the things that are being discussed about his knee and the procedures that they may rumor to be considering right now. Insanity there. Maybe I came up with the perfect Phillies lineup. I don't know. Maybe not. And, maybe if we have time, maybe we'll run our first NFL mock draft of this show. We'll see. We'll see what it is. Let's get right to the comments. Let's get right to the conversation. Before I even give you some opinions, I truly think the Sixers are approaching Joe to satisfy insurance company requirements to get their money back just to say, look, we said something. Look, I'm sure they've got insurance on that contract for Joel Embiid for sure. Let me tell you something. That Joel Embiid knee, it is cooked, and there is a chance, and I joked about it the night it happened, but that flailing jump to fake to try to block a three-point shot in the corner might have been the last play of Joel Embiid's career. Came out, hasn't played since. That may go down as the final play, at least of his Sixers career, maybe of his NBA career. I don't know. We're going to get into what they're talking about here with this knee. Yeah, most NFL and MLS Berkeley Entertainment. I didn't know who the company was, but I do know that they're all insured. I used to see their claims before any of the news came out. Gotcha. Yeah, I know that's a thing. Especially, I think baseball does it as well. Maybe with a different company, but yeah, every major contract is insured by somebody, by those executives and stuff like that. Yeah, no problem. I'm glad I could help you, Dink. Okay, whatever. I'm a big fan. Good morning, Little G. How are you? Hope you are well. So let's start with some Eagles chatter today. Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni spoke yesterday about a lot that's going on in this Eagles offseason. And good morning to you as well, Dante. I hope you are well. I have family that works in the front office of the Sixers. There's a health clause in his contract. They are trying to get him healthy to trade him. I don't know, Dante, if there's a way to trade him. There really isn't. In my opinion, there's two options. Get him healthy, whether it takes 6 months, a year, 3 years, and play him, and then trade him, or you convince him to retire so you get off that contract. I don't think there is any other alternative. This offseason just rehabbing or some kind of minor surgery is not going to give any other team any form of confidence to trade for him. Let me just give you here are the two things, okay? They are talking about a meniscus replacement procedure or a procedure where doctors break a bone in the hip to realign the joint and alleviate pressure. First off, meniscus replacement surgery. That's not a meniscus tear. That's a meniscus replacement. You're talking 16, 18-month probably recovery if he recovers to play NBA basketball. Breaking a hip joint or bone to alleviate pressure, that cannot be something that makes you a great NBA player again. If anything, breaking a hip joint to relieve pressure sounds like something of a quality of life type procedure. There is not one NBA team after either of those procedures that would take a chance on Joel. And if they don't do either of those procedures, there's no team that's going to take a chance. Everything on the Sixers hinges on the draft pick hitting or not. Yeah, everything hinges on the Sixers even acquiring it. The minds that say the NBA rigs the lottery. If the Sixers finish with the 5th or 6th worst record in the NBA, you can't tell me you don't think that the Sixers pick will fall to number 8 or something like that, Deebs. The NBA is going to do whatever they can to continue to screw this organization if you believe in that philosophy. Okay? Everything in that I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Do some of the signs point to the league being corrupt with the lottery? Yes. But I still like to have the benefit of the doubt in my mind that doesn't actually happen. That's a super serious ass procedure. Meniscus replacement sounds awful. But breaking a hip bone to fix your knee, I've never heard of that in the history of anything. Breaking one bone to help another bone. Like, there's no scenario where that's to help him become an MVP caliber player again. That's a scenario where it's a quality of life procedure. That's a quality of life procedure so he can play with his son, so he can pick up his kid. That's a quality of life so that he can get out of bed easier than I can every morning with knee and back pains. Joel Embiid, I'm telling you, there is a legit chance he never steps foot on the floor again for the Philadelphia 76ers. Hell, maybe in the NBA. And it's a shame. I actually have pity, and we'll get to your comment in a second there, Steven. I have pity, and I feel bad for Joel. Say what you will about him. The guy had so much talent. The guy had everything. And he did fight through so many injuries and played injured so many times. Always looking for respect. Now, he had some problems. He had some flaws. But you know what? The guy tried. And you know what? Degenerative knees, degenerative back, degenerative whatever. You know, there's not much else he could have done. It's a shame that he's never going to get that NBA championship. You know, it just is. And good morning, Steven. Bro, what's up? In this season, with Embiid and Paul George, karma for tanking during the trust the process era, and the NBA gods are punishing the Sixers. It's a combination of all the above there, Steven, for sure. The gods are saying something to us. They're not happy with us, I'll tell you that. But yeah, 100%. Now, I do see a scenario where they get off of Paul George this offseason. Not for as much as we would hope. But Joel Embiid is going to be on our roster, our payroll, until he decides to retire. And why would he retire? He's got 200 million reasons not to retire. He's a top 5 talent, so you can't just replace in draft. But he's done now. The Deep's comment on the draft isn't about replacing him in the draft. It's about the future of the franchise. If they get a pick there, then they can get a high player, a well-talented, like a Cooper Flag type player, and then in theory, you know, build around said player, Tyrese Maxey and Jarrett McCain. It has nothing to do with Joel Embiid specifically per se. If they are trying to get him healthy to showcase and trade him, then that would show just how F this org is. Yeah, but that's how it's been all season, Dooms. It's been like that all season. Okay? They've been pushing him out there to showcase him, pushing him out there to sell tickets. This organization has been a disaster since day one this year in the handling of Joel Embiid. A broken hip can alter a lot about a person. And it's not a broken hip. They're talking about breaking the hip to help his knee. Like, you're in the medical field. Like, how many times have you heard of something like that even being considered? It's insanity. Okay, let's not piss K1 off too much here. Yeah, exactly. You want to get back to the Eagles, right? Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to give K1 eye contact. Embiid's path to returning involves completely changing his game. Maybe he takes off all of 2026 and we ramp up for the following year. Look, this has been the problem, Deebs, with Joel Embiid his entire career. He hasn't altered his game. He should have. I talked about it on this show last offseason, maybe the offseason before. I don't even remember when. I know I've talked about it before. That Joel Embiid needed to become the second or third option so he wasn't pushing it so hard. When you're 7'2", 285 pounds, degenerative knees, you got to take a back seat a little bit. You can still be dominant as the number 2 or 3 option. Joel Embiid had to change mentally and physically what he did, and he never did it. He always wanted to be the guy, the centerpiece. He never could defer. Flailing around, flopping around. Flopping like a point guard, but when you're 7'2", 285, it's not good on your body. Plain and simple. So Joel Embiid's biggest flaw was not adjusting his own style. That contract is going to be impossible to trade. Not going to be impossible. It is going to be impossible. It's not gonna. It is. Just eliminate the word gonna. It is impossible to trade. There's no team that would take him on. None. None whatsoever. So you got to hope that by 2027 he can play basketball again, or you got to hope he retires. I'm assuming if he retires, that takes the cap, that fixes the cap situation. I don't know if you can negotiate a retirement for. Here's the something. I don't know contracts and I don't know the CBA and whatnot. Is there a scenario like where you can, like, I know teams buy out players all the time, but that buyout kind of still counts against the cap and stuff like that. Is there a scenario where you can negotiate a retirement? Hey, I want to retire, but I don't want to lose the money. Hey, give me this much money and then I will retire. And then it helps the cap big picture. I don't know. Sounds like something I would like to see. Is the process the Sixers' fault or the NBA for making it necessary? It's a great question. The Sixers just flaunt it too much. I've said it since day one. The Sixers have only been penalized. Sam Hinkie has only been ostracized for one reason, for monetizing the process. Nobody hated Oklahoma City doing it for how many years? They had like 97 first-round picks in a 5-year span. One draft, they had like 4 first-round picks. They just didn't monetize it. The Sixers were for flaunting it, for bragging about it, for being, we want transparency. They were transparent, and the league punished them for it. 100%. 100%. Good morning, Eric. Bright and early to the show this morning. Hope you are well, my main man. If the Sixers get lucky and get the pick this year, the following year it becomes top 4 protected in 26. I think the lottery will dictate the Sixers' offseason and rebuild plan. I just don't know how you build a plan, Deebs. Even if you trade Paul George, you're still going to be capped out for the most part. You're not trading Joel Embiid. I don't know how you, like, we joke, we comment, we talk that we need to fire Daryl Morey and put Bob Myers in charge. Well, why would Bob Myers want to get back into an NBA front office anyway? Especially this one, when the situation is as it is, because it's pathetic. I don't know. I don't know how you do this. They can 3D print his knee in a laboratory. He'll be let's turn him into Robo Embiid. I mean, honestly, mister, is that any more crazy than breaking a hip to alleviate knee pressure? Like, I don't see it being any different. Why not? The Colangelos, yeah. Colangelo's burner accounts are laughing their asses off as well at us. Like, I still to this moment, I loved that the Sixers during the process were so open so transparent with it. But now I regret enjoying that honesty from the Sixers because that is why we were screwed. We were. Yo, Phil, that new 2-pack joint is fire. He takes what? Okay, I don't know. Haven't heard it. Retirement indeed takes care of the cap, except in hockey if you retire after the age of 35. Right. But he's not just going to flat out retire because then he'd be leaving that contract on the table. I'm trying to come up with a plan where he can get his money and still retire and help the organization. He's got $200 million at least left on the table. He ain't just going to, he'll go through the surgery and pretend to rehab to get that money. At least I would. Not leaving $200 million on the table. I mean, I know when's enough money, but, you know, how can we figure out a way to get him some of that money and get him to retire at the same time? That's the question. Initially, I blame the NBA, but there has been a lack of accountability across the board on and off the court. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of other, like the NBA hated the Sixers flaunting it. But also the Sixers made a lot of bad decisions on and off the court throughout the process, through the Hinkie process, throughout the Elton Brand process, throughout the Daryl Morey. They've made plenty of their own mistakes. Throughout the Colangelo, they've made plenty of mistakes along this way. The most odd front one is this Joe Embiid beating contract extension. You know, could you imagine if they didn't give it to him? He'd only be on the hook for one more year. He'd be an expiring contract next year. But they gave him that 3-year tack on. And at the time, it sounded like the right idea. We didn't know about the knee situation. It's the NBA's fault for allowing an incompetent owner to purchase a team in the biggest media market. How are they going to process and miss on every lottery pick? Look, I don't know if they've missed on every lottery pick. Some of those lottery picks were, I mean, Joel Embiid was a great pick. It's just turning out bad in the end. You know, Ben Simmons, in theory, should have been a good pick. He just didn't care enough. I don't know. They did miss on Fultz. They did miss on, Okafor and Noel and whatnot. Got to get off that Paul George contract this summer. I firmly believe that they will bite the bullet and find a way to get off of it. How? I don't know. Golden State wanted him. The Lakers. There's a lot of teams that would probably enjoy having Paul George as their third option. I don't know. There's going to have to be something there. The Sixers will be able to sell a team where Paul George just wasn't a fit in Philly. Paul George is still an excellent basketball player. He's only got 3 years left on his contract now instead of 4. You know, they'll find a way. They're not going to get a huge return. They might be able to get a first-round pick. Luka only got a first-round pick. So if Luka only got a first-round pick, Paul George is only going to get a first-round pick. But they will find a way. I still don't trust Daryl Morey to do that. But we'll see. When is the next bargaining? I don't know. Are you hoping for a new amnesty clause put into the next CBA agreement? Because we could use that amnesty clause right now. How long has it been since the last time they've added an amnesty? The Sixers could definitely use a couple amnesty clauses right now for sure. It didn't work like that. He wants the millions. Yeah. I'm just trying to find a way. Coming up with a theory. Trying. A lot of houses be like 700 million. Yeah, exactly. Do you have to sell the Harden assets to get off the Paul George contract? You're going to have to sell some asset. You know, remember all the bad contracts that Sam Hinkie took on but got picks in return too? Yeah, that's what you're going to have to do. Maybe you could get off the Joel Embiid's contract, but you'll have to include a couple first-round picks to do it, and maybe Tyrese Maxey. Look, if we're in full rebuild mode this offseason, it breaks my heart to say it, but Tyrese Maxey, along with Paul George, should be traded this offseason. I love Tyrese Maxey. One of my favorite young players in Philadelphia right now. One of my favorite young players in the NBA. One of my favorite players in Philadelphia. But what good is he going to do on this team next year? Nothing. We're gonna languish in that just outside the play-in, where the content creators are telling you they're right there. One more little good run, and they're going to be a playoff team. But Tyrese Maxey, all the assets you have to trade to get rid of Paul George and maybe Joel Embiid, you can get back in a Tyrese Maxey trade. You'll probably have to give up an asset to get off that Paul George contract, but it's got to be done. It has to be done. You can't rebuild till you get off that contract. You can't. Fill in the 12. If you would allow me to school y'all, a player like Embiid talent come no more than not even once every 5 years, maybe longer than that. The problem isn't whether he's talented or not. When they're talking about having a surgery to break his hip to alleviate pain and pressure in his knee, that tells me he's cooked. That there's nothing else that can be done, that he might not ever play basketball again. And they might have insurance on him, and maybe they don't have to pay the contract out of their own pocket, but it's still going to screw the organization for the next 3 or 4 years. You need that Clippers pick. You hold onto that for dear life. Yeah, exactly. We about 25 years from the tech to do that knee. Yeah, like we literally need $1 million man. Well, he'd probably be like the $1 billion man this now. Steve Austin to that kind of surgery to fix Joel Embiid. He literally needs to be turned into RoboCop. The word for today is concurrent. Yeah. Don't forget MC. I forgot about Michael Carter-Williams. I was a huge Michael Carter-Williams guy. That rookie year, I was all hyped about that. Dropping triple doubles, had an ugly shot. And look, Dario Saric, the homie. I don't know if he was a lottery pick. I thought he was later in the first round, but maybe he was a lottery, whatever. I liked him. I thought he had potential to be a solid role player in the NBA. I really did. I really liked his game. I really liked that he did the dirty work. He could shoot a little bit. He was long, played a little bit of defense. I think with more development here in Philly, Dario Saric could have been a good player. I think he was a good player here in Philly. I just, he was one of those assets that we had to trade away, one of those assets that we had to give away. As long as we don't pass around the assets like Billy King, oh my God. Still dead to me, Billy King. I said it before on the show, I'll say it again. All I did was ask for a fist bump as I was in a valet line after a wedding, and he left me hanging. I'm like, yo, Billy King, what up? Went like this, and he just looked at me and walked away. So he sucked as an executive, but he also sucked as a person in public. I didn't even make a big deal. And he was still part of the Sixers organization at this point, I believe. Kind of not funny that Tobias Harris is getting the last laugh. Tech Q has his nuts. Look, I was a big Tobias guy. Tobias, I always said, on the right size contract, would have been loved in Philadelphia. Tobias Harris' hate comes from the contract he was given. It wasn't his fault he was given that contract. Tobias Harris is a very, very important part as a leader and a starter, as the not top-tier guy on the Detroit Pistons team. The Detroit Pistons team that is looking like a playoff team. Now, they probably won't win in the playoffs much, if anything, but they're building something. They're growing something. Tobias Harris is getting the last laugh. And I love Tech. Tech's my boy. I wish Tech was in the chat more often in the morning. I've seen a million young Jordans come and go in first and not pan out. I don't think you've seen a million young Jordans, okay? There's only one Jordan, just so you know. Dario was the 12th. He was that high? I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking he was like 21 or 22 or something like that. Wow, he was 12. Yeah? I know the lottery's top 14, but I can't believe he was a 12th pick. Man, that's crazy to even think about. But here's what it is. But anyway, back to the point here. I honestly think the Sixers screwed up even more. Now there's like Eric Gordon's going under surgery for his wrist, and he's probably done for the year. Whatever. That's not the point. The point is that the Sixers had tradable assets at this deadline, and they continued to tell us they were a playoff contending team. Before Eric Gordon got hurt, they could have traded him. Even if it was a second-round pick, they could have traded Andre Drummond. They should have traded Yabusele. And I know this pisses people off. They could have traded Kelly Oubre. There's 3 or 4 guys that they could have traded to continue to amass assets to start the rebuild. But the problem with this organization is not Joel Embiid's knee. The problem with this organization is not Paul George being a bust. The problem isn't any of this. The problem is Daryl Morey and Josh Harris selling a fake bill of goods to the fans on a regular basis. and trying to tell us, to get us to buy tickets, to buy jerseys, to whatever, that they're still a playoff team. I don't know if they're just lying to us or if they're oblivious to it. Maybe they still believe their own bullshit. It would be poetic. It would be. You know, I still am a Tobias Harris fan. Every so often I go online, I check box scores and see what Toby's doing. I don't think they're good enough, but it wouldn't break my heart like it would other people. And thank you, Big Al. I appreciate you big time. That be my point. They don't pan out. Well, no one's ever compared. You're making it sound like they're compared to Jordan all the time. They're not. Wu-Tang tour this year. Man, it's been a long time. Is that what I saw this comment before I saw your comment? Yeah, without ODB. Josh Harris is a dirty scoundrel. I don't have a counter to this. I don't. He's a scum. He doesn't care. He bought the Devils, so he had enough money to buy the Sixers, so he had enough money to buy the Commanders. Plain and simple. He does not care about this team. And honestly, it would not shock me. Would not shock me if he does not fire Daryl Morey or Nick Nurse. Or Nick Nurse will be the fall guy, and Daryl Morey will have another shot. Because he's going to use Daryl Morey to keep funding his lie, keep fueling his lie. Did I disagree with an opinion? Hey, all opinions matter. Again, I don't know which opinion I disagreed with, but all opinions do matter on this show. That's why you like, you subscribe, and you share, and you tune in. Again, all opinions matter. I don't have to agree with all the opinions. That's all. Yeah. Is there, I just think about it. I'm 44, and I think of Norman Brayman and how much he sucked as an owner. But Josh Harris has the potential to go down in history as the worst owner in Philadelphia sports, at least of the 21st century. Because I don't think there's a single soul out there in Philadelphia, outside of maybe Daryl Morey, that actually believes him, that he has best interest in heart. Why does Harris care? And K1, good morning to you, and a fantastic point. That's where the fans need to come into play. The fans need to stop showing up. The fans got to stop buying merchandise. The fans got to make a statement. They won't, big picture, but they've got to. They've got to cancel their season tickets. They've got to stop, doing all those things. Boycott. Don't show up. Have that arena be empty. Don't even spend the $2 for a ticket on StubHub. Until that message is received, he ain't going to care. You get $2 tickets, you still got to pay for parking and concessions. Just don't show up. People need to stop spending money. Let me tell you something. I've watched a combined 20 minutes of Sixers action over this entire year. My wife the other night told me, she's like, there was a Sixers game on, you didn't watch it. Like, I don't care. Their ratings have got to be plummeting on TV. Yet 2 of their next 3 games are on national TV. So you don't care about that then. And he gets his new arena. Absolutely. He's strung everybody along this year to get that new arena. Whoever's funding that arena should back out of that deal immediately. They're like, we'll fund a new arena, but Josh Harris has got to go. I don't think it works that way. What is up, my man? It's NFL Reality Check. How are you, buddy? I hope you are well. We're talking Sixers. Eagles are on the agenda as well. But we got it. We're having unfortunately, this has turned into a 30-minute reality check on the Sixers and the Joel Embiid situation. And good morning to you, Duck. Hope you are well. Mormon was the worst. Norman Brayman, yeah, worst owner in Philly history. Dude let so many good players walk because he didn't like free agency. I just remembered, I've told the story before, we were in Florida somewhere, Miami, and my dad's like, that's the reason why, that car dealership's the reason why the Eagles will never win. That's what he told me. And I always remembered that. And he pointed to one of Norman Brayman's dealerships. Josh Harris doesn't have a focus on a single team. That's the biggest issue. I would have to look into that, Nooms. I mean, there are people that own multiple franchises across multiple leagues. And I don't know if they're successful or not, but I do get what you're saying. I think he does have a single focus now on his football team. He cares about that football team. I don't know what the situation, big picture is with the New Jersey Devils, if they're an organizational failure or not. But I get what you're saying here, and I do agree that he's too distracted to care about the Sixers. Yeah, no, I knew who you meant. Fans won't boycott because it's status thing. Oh, I agree. Spending that money, going to the games, but it's not going to be cool to go to the games for much longer. Hell, it might not be cool anymore. I don't see my boy David Dodge sitting courtside anymore. He ain't wasting his time going, getting drunk and passing out on the sideline. Yeah, Leonard Toast is the one I figured somebody would comment on right away, K1. Is the one who fired Vermeil and was going to move the Eagles to Arizona. Yeah, I know. It's a very, very early part of my days. The Norman Brayman era is really when my fandom took off. But I do know Leonard Toast is right up there as one of the worst owners. I'll do worst owners in Philadelphia poll or something like that on Twitter. Toast, Brayman, Harris will be the three names with other as the option. We'll put that together. We'll see what the results are. No one is going to show up now. My son addicted to Sixers, and now he is in his bedroom. By the time yeah. Well, if I ask my nephew right now who his favorite player in the NBA is, I guarantee you his top 10 players wouldn't be on the Sixers right now. Phil got disposable. What? I'm not disposable. I'm giving eye contact. I think I've done an A-plus job of improving the eye contact over the last couple of weeks, just so you know. Harris is hands-off on the Devils and Sixers. We know he's hands-off on the Sixers. I don't know about the Devils. I'd assume he is. So, sure, that's fine. And guys, please, you're watching Trend in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. About 20 people in the YouTube room. That should be 20 likes on this video, so smash that like button. Hopefully, we're up over the 446. We started the show at 446 subscribers, so subscribe, and if you've done all that, click that share button. I'd greatly appreciate it, and share it on one of your social media platforms. Harris is hands-off on – I don't know. I only star the ones I read. Toast was coming from a good place, but he was a slave to his vices. We all are slaves to our vices at some point, right? Yeah, I do remember him being burned out as well. I don't know if it was kind of like an excuse or not, but yeah, sorry to hear about your Sixers woes. Wish they cared about that organization the way the Eagles do. I always say it, reality check, the Eagles and Jeffrey Lurie and the way he runs that organization is the crown jewel of how you run an organization in sports. It really is. It is the gold standard. Drudge headline, NFL pushing to ban unstoppable play. Yeah, that's a good comment to get back into the Eagles a little bit. Disposable money. Not many people have that. So you just wore that shirt, yo. Yeah, and it was washed and back on the top of the pile. Are you judging me for wearing a shirt twice in like a week span? Come on now, bro. Dick stepped down due to that, yeah. Harris is hands off on the Eagles and hands on, yeah, something like that. Nooms is core 12 for sure. He always has been. Hey, I know what you meant. Ray Dinger's book puts a different light on that burnout narrative. You know, I got his book up there, and I've glanced through it, but I've never actually sat and read it cover to cover. Like occasionally I just open it up and just open a random page and read that page. I probably should read the entire book from front to cover, shouldn't I? That probably would help. But we can continue talking Sixers and their ignorance and how stupid they are and how bad they're run. We can talk about Joel Embiid's knee and how it's just straight toast. We got a hot take conspiracy. The NBA has the Sixers on national TV as leverage for the CBA negotiations. The ratings are going to be so horrible. There's a conspiracy theory right there. Conspiracy theory for sure. I love it. I love it, DJ. I do. Phil reads via osmosis. No, I just don't read much. I don't have time. Well, for a while in the Reed years when they were saying the Eagles were the gold standard, they were actually the bronze standard. It's true. But now they are the gold standard, the Eagles. And to kind of transition, because there was a comment up here about the banning of the tush push, that I can use that to transition and bring the Eagles back in the conversation, because that's what the plan was originally, talking Eagles today. Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni spoke. Howie Roseman spoke about how he wants you all to have tempered expectations for what this offseason is going to be like. We could talk about that in a few moments. But also on the tush push, Nick Sirianni was asked about it at the Combine yesterday, and he said, and I quote, he's insulted that they're trying to ban the play. Insulted. And I loved the way Nick Sirianni responded to the tush push potential ban. We work so hard to perfect it, to perfect the fundamentals. It's not just an easy play. It's not just automatic. We perfected it, which no one else could do. And I am insulted that they're trying to ban it because I did something, my team did something that no one else can do. And I absolutely love Nick Sirianni just openly being like, yo, basically a big middle finger to the league saying, yo, just because my team worked their tail off to do something successfully, we're going to change it because you can't. I absolutely loved it. Nick Sirianni actually had a pretty solid press conference yesterday. If you haven't listened to it, I'm going to give you some of the highlights from it. But I do firmly recommend y'all going and listen to his portion of the press conference yesterday. He did talk about Kevin Patullo. See, I got it right that time. And how he will be calling plays. And he stressed the reason on him being the hire, and he claimed he interviewed a lot of guys, was to keep that continuity on offense. So he did that. Talked about Parks Frazier, who hasn't officially been announced, but he's going to be that guy. He talked about Saquon. We talked about Saquon Barkley a little bit this week about worrying about his usage. And he said, basically, Saquon's maintenance comes in the offseason, camps, practices during the week where he rests. They are going to use him and try every game to win every game. And if that means giving Saquon 25 carries a game again, they will. They just will continue to maintenance him throughout all the other moments. So the theory that they got to use him less was basically shut down immediately by Nick. It's like Nick Sirianni listens to this and just speaks on this show on a regular basis. I don't know if the Sixers talk is tanking the algo. It's not helping it, but it's not tanking it. We're hanging right around where we always do this time of the year, 16 to 20 regular viewers. Tush push banning has to be the biggest bitch move I have ever seen. It's not banned yet, but if they do, I would agree with you 100%. Yes, exactly. Green Bay Packers defenders. Well, the Eagles are too strong for us. They're not fair. Is that how you wanted it to be read there, Anthony? I can't stop it, so let's ban it. I think I got that on. I think I'm pretty spot on with that, right? This would be like revolting against the West Coast offense of the. Absolutely. It would be, saying you can't run. What was the Buddy Ryan? The 6'4", 4'6", whatever it was. And they stacked the box. You can't have more than 8 defenders in the box. You can't blitz more than 3 guys at a time. Can't have more than four wide receivers on the field, 3 wide receivers on the field at a time. Can't use the fullback anymore because only 3 teams use it. So we're just going to eliminate the position altogether. You can't have a pulling tackle. What else are they going to ban? Or a pulling guard, you know what I mean. Far out thought here, Phil, but do you think in any way this downfall has to do with Harris owning an NFL team? We've talked about this a lot. I know you're not tuning in Reality Check all the time. We've talked about this a lot. That it 100% does. He does not care about the Sixers. He cares about the Commanders. He only bought the Sixers to have the money to buy the Commanders. And it makes me hate the Commanders even more than I already do. I call it the Frankie Louvu rule. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. When Phil look up free agency league, then he finally get 30. I got the free agency list up. I got Spot Track up on my screen all week. Yeah, you enjoyed. I can't stop you. Phil should adopt that. You want me to talk like this all the time? Oh, okay. Wildcat. Yeah, I remember when the Wildcat was a thing. That Wildcat thing lasted like 2 minutes. The 46 defense. I don't know why I said 4-6. The 46. Let's just ban everything that teams can't stop. Seriously. Howie's Nick are the emperors of the NFL Combine. Every other team representatives must bow to their knees when Howie and Nick enter the room. Yeah, look, Howie Roseman spoke yesterday, and I don't know if it was part trying to change fans' expectations and part, tricking the NFL, I guess, or if it was just one or the other, or a little combo of both. But Howie Roseman spoke yesterday, and he told fans, don't overreact to the first day of free agency. Don't overreact to the draft. Wait to see the final product. They are going to have to make some unfortunate decisions this offseason. He did say, look, just because we wouldn't pay a linebacker doesn't mean we won't pay a linebacker, but it doesn't mean we're going to pay a linebacker. He really tried to set fans' expectations that we're going to be disappointed in some of the decisions. Myles Garrett's name continually getting brought up again yesterday. And he can't comment on it, but he's got a big picture in mind, and he's got a lot of guys that got to get paid in the coming years. We have to temper our expectations this offseason. We can't go out and get a Saquon Barkley or an A.J. Brown every offseason. So he definitely tried to temper expectations. Andy Reid and his disciples brought into throw, and now they're pissed. Their philosophy was blown out of the water. And move on. Exactly. Yes, Dante, they did try to ban it. And they don't have any injury information to say, well, we can't have this play because everybody gets hurt, because there is no information about that. DeAndre Swift, Bears, 3 years, $24 million. Bears disappointed. Okay. Like, does that have anything positive to do with this show? Is Jonathan Allen good? He's good. Not great. Okay, my bad, guy. No, it's okay. You're good, my man. I'm just letting you know we've banged that. We've pounded that drum for ages. I'm not mocking you. I'm making the voice. Okay. Am I mocking you? It was an Anthony voice. Okay. Keep up. NFL, throw. NBA, 3-3-3. You're not wrong, Nooms. Not at all. Not even close to being wrong on this. It's exactly what the NFL and NBA are. But yet, at least the Eagles are willing to change that narrative and run the ball. In all honesty, I think the 6 offsides in championship game is what got it banned. It hasn't been banned yet, reality check. It's going to be up for a vote. It doesn't make it right, but after that touchdown, I was like, damn, Roger isn't going to like that. Roger doesn't like anything that he doesn't come up with. Plain and simple. Howie just stated that the team might not look like what it is normal. Yeah, and it might not look the way we want it to look. But again, and I got into a battle with, what's his name? One of the guys that never agreed. I can tell you the sky is purple or blue, and he would say, no, it's purple. One of the guys out there on Twitter that whatever I say, he disagrees with on everything. And he told me that Howie Roseman has to have a great offseason because he hasn't done enough, and he's too inconsistent of an executive, and he hasn't proven anything yet. I'm just like, what a load of horse crap. We just need to be patient. You don't win the Super Bowl on the first day of free agency. You don't win the Super Bowl on the first day of the draft. You win the Super Bowl with the entire offseason, not just player personnel decisions, practices, coaching decisions, everything. It's a culmination of an entire offseason and then the regular season. So let's not judge Howie Roseman because one guy walks. I do think we're going to lose a popular player, whether it's Zach Bond or somebody else. You just got to set those expectations and be patient with the whole process. Cut that out, Phil. I'm serious. I'm not mocking you. Stop. Nakobe Dean was on Club Shay Shay. I don't I don't even know what that is. Sorry. The 46 defense was named for Doug Plank, who wore that number for the Bears in the late 70s through the early 80s. Look at that. Deep knowledge right there from K1 on the 46 defense. Did not know that. Howie's posturing. I do think there's something to it, that there is also posturing. He's trying to lower people's values while also lowering our expectations so they can pounce and look like a superstar again. I do. There's definitely some of that. Pushing hard for Bond, not Williams. Yeah, I mean, at least the Eagles fans are pushing hard for Bond, not Williams. Will he do it? I still have this gut feeling that Zach Bond won't be back. I don't like that gut feeling. Maybe I drink too much coffee, and that's why my gut don't feel good. No chance they can afford Williams. No team or some team. Yeah, absolutely agree. I wouldn't mind Isaiah Rodgers staying. I wouldn't. I don't get what the Rams are doing with Matthew Stafford. I've heard them wanting to move on from Stafford and get Aaron Rodgers. It's ludicrous. It really is. Marshawn, what is up? Sad how Joel's career is going to end. I need him to win one, even if it's somewhere else for real. Trying to bring it back to the we spent the first 35, 40 minutes talking basketball. Finally transitioned back to football. And Marshawn, who doesn't want to talk Sixers, brings the Sixers back in the conversation. But yes, I agree with you, Marshawn. I just unfortunately feel like he might never play an NBA basketball game ever again. So it is what it is. It's unfortunate. But when you're talking about breaking a hip to help alleviate pain, we're talking about quality of life, not quality of basketball player. The procedures that they're rumored to have on Joel Embiid, it's quality of life. Making him be able to pick up his kid, not play NBA basketball again. You like the mock? First you want me to stop, now you don't. Just keep doing what we have been doing and we will be fine. Don't want to give up the farm, but don't want to be quiet either. Yeah. Have faith. Not to use the Sixers phrase, trust the process. Trust Howie's process. Phil due for another tat. I would love another tat. Tats cost too much money, though. We need to keep one of Slay and Isaiah. I agree. I have no problem keeping Slay. I love Slay. Played at a great level. But if they let Slay go, then Isaiah Rodgers has got to be back. Not sure what his market value will be. But, yeah. Did you just say you don't want Club Shay Shay? No, I said I don't. What do you mean Club Shay Shay? I don't even. Maybe it went over my head, but I don't know what Club Shay Shay even means. I don't. The Commodes are looking to trade Jonathan Allen. I doubt that they would trade with us, though, directly. All that's happened before. It's all good. We are in the darkest of days. And we did a really strong conversation there the first 30 minutes of the show on him and how there is no answer. But when you're talking about quality of life, procedures, how can I believe he should even try to play again? Jeff Rulin had the 12-game comeback. Okay. So you're saying there's a chance. I was told by I think his name's Sean, Twitter guy, that always disagrees. I literally could say the Eagles just won the Super Bowl. He'd say, no, that was fake news. Like, he literally disagrees with every single tweet I make that he sees. I mean, I love the engagement, but he's so far wrong on so many things. He's told me that Howie Roseman has not done enough. He is far too inconsistent. He's missed on too much. I'm like, he just won the Super Bowl. He's been to 2 Super Bowl championships in 8 years. That's not enough to make up for his bad decisions, according to Sean. Ronan or Roman or whatever his name is. Please, no, the disrespect real tweets this offseason. The disrespect real. Club Shay Shay, Shad Sharp's YouTube and podcast. Oh, okay. I don't watch it. I've never watched it. So did not know that. My bad. Maybe I'm not up on all the famous people's podcasts like I should be. But that's that. As I get older, I don't see in Bible where I can't get a tat. I think about what? Get a tat. Waste of career, they will be done. The Washington. Yeah. I love the Myles Garrett talk truly, but I'd rather get Chase Young or even Khalil Mack. Yeah, the production wouldn't be equal. So I like the Chase Young idea. I'm not going all in on Myles Garrett. So here's a new one for you guys. A guy was offered the ability, or not offered, was told. A guy that's had almost 20 sacks over the last 2 years, over 30 sacks over his last 3 years. He's 28, going to be 29, was given permission to seek a trade, and that's Harold Landry of the Tennessee Titans. A year younger, would cost less. Myles Garrett's going to cost you multiple first-round picks. Harold Landry might not. Harold Landry instead of Myles Garrett. Is that something that interests people? 30-plus sacks in the last 4 years. He missed 1 year with a torn ACL. Chase Young, I see the comment over here, I haven't gotten to it, is only 25, though, so I don't know if he's washed K1 completely. But a cheap pyramid deal. Harold Landry over Myles Garrett. Is that something that intrigues you guys? Because, again, 2 first-round picks and more for Myles Garrett, maybe a second or a third for Harold Landry. Still gives you that big production on the outside. Just an idea to float out there. Like lefties against stomping wasteful spending. What? We're not worried about any government things right now. Lateral meniscus is one of the biggest career killers out there. Rulin, Eric Snow are the first 2 Sixers that immediately come to mind. I didn't even know that's what ended Eric Snow's career. I don't even, honestly, outside of 2000, 2001, I don't even remember Eric Snow's career. I remember Eric Snow more for falling asleep on a broadcast when he used to be a Sixers broadcaster more than his career. Chase Young is so washed. I don't know if he's washed. You can't expect him to be an elite guy like he was drafted to be. I mean, he was drafted number 1 overall. He's 25. I think there's a 1-year prove-it deal type thing out there for him. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Why not get Randy Gregory while we're at it? Just want yeah, maybe. The disrespect reel was CJGJ's 23 tweet during his losing battle with the offseason. Yeah, I know. And I was wrong. I didn't want CJGJ back. I thought his attitude would have been a bad mix in this locker room. Turned out I was wrong on that one. Young is just what he is. Young is clowning pretty much if you team Young with Smith and Carter. I think Young could have success here for sure. But I think that breaking the bank for the position just isn't necessary. That's it. Chase Young is a cheap option. So I guess that works for me. Yeah, just let him cook. Just let him do his thing. Uncle Vic is going to turn Chase Young into a cornerback. But what you got to do, honestly, is you've got to remember that Howie's got to ask Uncle Vic, what does Uncle Vic want this offseason? Because Uncle Vic has to get his players to run his defense successfully. So which one of these guys? Myles Garrett, Landry, Chase Young, any of them. Which one fits what he wants best? And then go from there. Oh, Chet with the shameless plug. It's okay. I was going to get to the shameless plug at the reset at the top of the hour. But yes, Chet and Bill Furman, hosts of Philly Press Box Radio right here on the STT Sports Network tonight at 7 p.m. We'll have former Flyers great Brian Propp on their show. So for those hockey people out there, tune in tonight at 7 p.m. Brian Propp. You're not going to want to miss it right here, 7 p.m. on the STT Sports Network. Chet, I always got you on the plug. Whether I get it early, mid, late, I always got you on the plug. But yes, looking forward to that interview right there. Chase never rehabbed fully from his knee injury. That's right. I forgot he had a knee injury too, honestly, K1. Can you imagine, if somebody in Philly, Howie Roseman or Daryl Morey, drafted someone number 1 overall and they had the career that Chase Young has? How bashed the Philly executive would be. Don't need to pay big to keep the best. I would load up on the defensive tackle in the draft and edge. Look, every time I run a mock draft, I only post one random one here or there. So I don't know what I'm doing. But every time I come to the Eagles pick in the first, second, or third round, there are a crap ton of defensive tackles available. Milton Williams is going to go. They are going to draft another defensive tackle. Moro Ojomo is going to take a bump in snaps, hopefully production as well, for sure. If it's Young, then we got to get another impactful defensive end. Chase ain't enough if you lose Milton and Sweat. Well, Milton's an inside guy, and I fully expect them to draft an inside. I see the scenario of they draft an inside guy, okay? They use the inside guy that they draft early in the draft, along with Moro Ojomo to replace Milton Williams. On the outside, you're going to lose Sweat. Jugs Hunt's snap count's going to go up. Nolan Smith's snap count's going to go up. I expect them to keep Bryce Huff and try to find a way to utilize him better. How, I don't know. But they ain't finding a trade partner for him, I don't think. Yeah. I still don't think it'll happen, though. I don't. Don't think it happens. We love Chet. Chet and Bill do a fantastic job on Press Box Radio every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. For sure, nothing is certain. I'm just looking at young, cheap options with potential. Can't be any worse. Exactly. You got to understand, they've got X amount of money to spend. They've got their own guys to lock up long term. They got extensions to hand out next offseason. They're going to have to sign a couple young or cheap options, a couple prove-it options as well this offseason. They got to find the next Zach Bond or Oren Burks. They got to find the next guy that's like Mekhi Becton. Snap, crackle, prop. Yeah, that's right. Tonight, 7 p.m., right here, Nooms. Dear, for please read the free agents edge list for the love of money. You just want the edges. Okay, let me sort. Defensive end. All right, we'll go edge. See, the top names based off of their last year's salary are Khalil Mack, Hassan Reddick, Matthew Judon, DeMarcus Lawrence, Preston Smith, Josh Sweat, Chase Young, Charles, DeMarcus Walker, Jerome Baker, Marcus Davenport, Wise, Kazir White's listed as an edge. They're your names. There you go. Why can't the NBA do a Four Nations tournament? They don't have to be all-stars, but invite international players. I agree. I don't know if a Four Nations tournament works because you're at the USA. You kind of would have to I guess you could do France as their own individual nation. I don't know. I think you'd have to do Europe as a whole. I think they could just do like a best-of-3 tournament, USA versus the world, or best-of-3 best-of-3 series, maybe something like that. I mean, wasn't everyone saying just last year Becton was trash and Watson? Absolutely. Same thing, Zach Bond. Have faith in the process of Howie Roseman, not the Sixers. Plain simple. By 32, edge gone, but not defensive tackle. I think edge has replaced defensive end. Young players for the Flyers got their legs back, and they made some systematical adjustments over the 2-week break. I like 2-week breaks. 2-week breaks are good and bad. 2-week breaks because they have the Four Nations tournament going is great. Doesn't hurt the league. But 2 weeks breaks with without that, with just the All-Star break would have been bad. Good morning, Joe. How are you? Are you completely out on Huff? No. I feel like the need is there to hope Bryce Huff can figure it out. I know there's some concerns about his attitude, some concerns about his work ethic, some concerns about some things he has said since the Super Bowl. Hell, nobody even saw Bryce Huff at the Super Bowl parade. But in my mind, nobody's taking his contract on after the production he took or gave in 2024. So there's a legit chance that he is on this roster next year and they figure a way out for him. I hope they find a way to move on from him. I don't think so. So I'm here for it. I love a good redemption story, a good character arc. He hasn't even gotten to the peak of his arc yet, maybe. I like 2 break weeks. I need a 2-week break, just so you know. I like a 3-day weekend. I like a 1-day weekend, if anything. Chet and Bill, first ballot podcaster Hall of Fame. Yeah, I'd be like the Eric Allen Hall of Fame ballot. It's just never getting in. I would need to get in at the last second. Whereas one absolutely abhor fairway as stop. Just because you don't like my golf talk, you don't have to tune in to my golf talk. Great episode of Fairway to Heaven. Guys, you want to join the Fairway to Heaven DraftKings contest? Link down below. It's $3 to enter. See if you can beat myself and Steven Fuentes in a $3 DraftKings contest. Again, it's linked below, guys. Join it. Check it out. I'm sure you'll have a fun. Golf fantasy is the best. Gambling on golf, the best sport. Would I take a flyer on Reddick if the price was right? It depends. Most of the rumors are he was the locker room cancer in 2023. If you could prove to me that he was not the locker room cancer, then I would absolutely take a flyer on a cheap one-year deal on Hassan Reddick. Absolutely. I think Hassan Reddick isn't going to let himself, he's not going to devalue himself on a one-year deal. He's going to say, I don't care. It was just a bad situation. I still want big money. And B, I believe the rumors that he was the locker room cancer. So I would say no on those two reasons. But if you give me a 1 year, $3-4 million deal for Hassan Reddick and you can guarantee he was not the cancer, abso-freaking-lutely. I remind you all that everyone but me was out on Nakobe and Nolan after a year. I have faith in Bryce Huff. Yeah, look, I was not out on Nakobe and Nolan. Look, we've all had our bad takes. I have, if there's any talent in Bryce Huff, and I will say this, even when we signed Bryce Huff, I remember doing these shows, K1, and be like, can the guy handle the bigger workload? Was he a one-hit wonder? I mentioned on this show, he was year 4. He had a great success, but never else in his career. So I don't have faith that he could do it. But at his price, you got to hope he could do it. Whatever the best nations on FIBA's rankings, 4 nations is such a genius play, but it took the players to commit and buy in. Absolutely. And I think you would have the France team buy in. You would have the Team Italy buy in. You would have Team Croatia buy in. You wouldn't get Team USA to buy in. That's the problem. 8 sacks, 23, got hurt, missed 24. I mean, sounds like a kind of guy that the Eagles would go after. 2-week breaks got us a Super Bowl. That's correct. That's correct. For me, it ain't out was Reddick set. For me, if it ain't Eddie out was Reddick says. The guy really refuses to play coverage very much, and that's a no-no. Yeah. I agree. I don't think he's a perfect fit under Fangio anyway. No problem, Chet. We love you. We love you, my man. It's not about Huff or if he can or can't play, but I'm not going to keep putting talent around him just because Huff is here. If competition breaks Huff, it is what it is. Look, I said it day one. Can Bryce Huff be that guy? Was he a one-hit wonder? Last year proved that he probably is a one-hit wonder. But with that contract, you got to hope that I'm wrong and that we're all wrong. What if he was the cancer and learned the ultimate lesson too? Can he play under Vic Fangio? That's the big question too. I think Nooms is spot on with that. Hassan Reddick went to Japan to be a Ninja Turtle this past offseason. That's a pass for me. I forgot about that, Marshawn. I forgot about him in his samurai outfit in the streets of Japan. While the Jets were in training camp, he's in his samurai outfit. And it wasn't like it was the offseason. That was during training camp, I believe. To get to 500 subs, make a video ripping Dan Sileo. I mean, I could give you a great Dan Sileo video if I get the 500 subs first. Get me to 500 subs, and then I will call Dan Sileo out for the crap he is. Anything I can do to bring about the downfall of Fairway? No. Fairway's been 5 years. I've been doing Fairway longer than trending, just so you know. Can the Eagles' defense stop the tush push? I think that's an interesting question. Interesting question. Maybe if Jordan Davis gets some leverage there, Jalen Carter, maybe. They might be able to. I'd like to know what the success rate, we know what the success rate is during the games. What's the success rate of the tush push during practice? That's a good question. Wasn't out on Dean and Smith. I was definitely not out on Nolan Smith. I had my concerns about Nakobe Dean, but I wasn't out on them. Speaking of Fairway to Heaven, weather go the golf itch in full effect. May head out to the range today. Yeah. If I had some time off, I'd be hitting some golf balls today. I bet you the golf range today will be packed in Kennett Square. For sure. 60-degree day today. No rain. There'll be a lot of people hitting golf balls today. For sure. No player can stop. No one player, but a whole team could. I would rather make a small bet on Michael Thorpson. Yeah. He's not even in the field this week, is he? I don't know. He's not on my card. Sorry, I meant to say I'm not going to stop putting talent around Huff. Gotcha. Well, Trending is the greatest morning show in Philadelphia on the radio or online. That's that. Can you do a Dan Sileo impersonation? I don't know. Probably not. I could do the crying impersonation like earlier. I can't stop the tush push. But that's all I could do. I'm not a very good impersonation. I could do a $1 Million Man. Everybody's got a price. But that's about it. That's all I got. Impersonations. Huff can't deal with the hard training. He is starting to show some of the locker room cancer. I just don't know how you get off of him. That's the question. That's the comment. If another team figures out the tush push, them I would have Clint Hurt in pass to try to stop it. Clint Hurt, unsung hero of the defense for sure. No doubt about it. The only person to stop the tush push, if I'm not mistaken, is Vita Vea. Yeah. Big guy, just like Jordan Davis. I love Pennsylvania. It just feels like home. Yeah. Mock silly. What? Greatest breakfast show, tea and scones in it. Yeah, I love doing this. I will say there are going to be a couple days next week where we're not going to be doing shows. Got some things going on, some personal things going on. I will release that information as time goes on later this week and into the beginning of next week. Nothing bad. Well, I shouldn't say nothing bad. Nothing show related, but some personal things. So Dan Sileo impersonation would just be screaming a bunch of racist garbage. Pretty much, yes. And as long as he's part of Jacob Media, I will never watch Jacob Media. Not that they even do much anymore over at Jacob Media other than his show and their morning show. Misses the cut in Mexico, but is due for a big comeback. I am cognizant of the fact. I am not cognizant of the fact that Thorpson is in the cut in the field this week. Who would have known? I wasn't cognizant of that. I only said that like 3 times last night. I would do when we play Green Bay next year. When we play Green Bay in Green Bay next year, the Eagles need to run a complete drive full of just tush pushes. Complete drive. Every play of every drive. Guys, you're watching Training the AM. All this talk about Training the AM. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, share button, please. Greatly appreciate it. I was wrong on Clint Hurt. I thought he was a novelty hire. My apologies. Clint Hurt was a failed DC. Was it Seattle? I want to say he was a Seattle defense coordinator, right? Sometimes coaches are just better in specific roles than being in charge of the whole show. And we love you until you mess up and then treat you like him. Dan Sileo also will bring up having played with Brown just to show he is racist. Yeah. Why does Dan Sileo talk and hate the Eagles? Isn't he a Dolphin? I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with him. Honestly, I know he's known to make some racist comments, legitly, and I think he was fired for a job from being racist. But I don't get the Dan Sileo love. The amount of people, like if I click on this thing, I bet you there's hundreds, thousands of people watching on a daily basis, super chat tipping him nonstop. I just don't get it. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you tuning in. Reality Check today, really do. I wouldn't do the tush push out of principle. I'm doing it out of principle. I'm running 7 straight tush pushes to score a touchdown. So I'm also boycotting everything on Jacob due to them platform. I've always been that way. Even when they had big names on their platform. I just can't get behind Dan Sileo being on their platform. The kid Xander might be doing a good job. I don't know. They've got their morning show. I got mine. So I can't watch theirs. And I'm not watching Dan Sileo. They used to have like 12 shows a day on there. They don't now. I think they ran out of money and stopped paying people. He wasn't a DC in Seattle. He was the D-line coach as well. I know Desai was. Desai was, I thought, the Bears DC as well. I'm confusing my defensive coordinators. I think right there, my bad. There's no love for Sills. He buys all his viewers. I mean, maybe. There's a lot of people tuning into his shows from what I see online, and I peek in on chats all the time for people to see if you guys are behaving in other shows, and I see a lot of super chats going his way. A lot. He's got fans. It's just like I don't know. It is frustrating. He gets hundreds and thousands of views, and I get 100 or 200 views on a given day. It's not the people so much more like the land feels like I'm connected to it. Yeah. There'll be a player in the draft so talented, he first round grade, wide receiver and cornerback. I don't know. Honestly, never heard of him until the great collapse of 23. Yeah, I don't know. He was the Bears DC as well. Okay. I thought he was the Bears DC and Hurt was was Clint Hurt maybe a interim defensive coordinator briefly? I really thought I remembered reading that he was a defensive coordinator at some point. I could be wrong, but that's cool. Philly podcast wars, hashtag Game of Thrones. Look, I can't get in any wars. I'm a one-man band, baby. All I could do is continue to pump out quality content on a daily basis and hope the algo explodes one day. That's all I can do. But you know what? I won't compromise my beliefs for other channels and other podcasts. I won't be like them. Philly does feel like home. I get that. The combine started yesterday, but the actual workouts start Thursday. Yesterday was a lot of interviews. Today, I think they get to interview players like one-on-one. The actual practices start on Thursday. Maybe next year. Maybe next year I'll be out of the pizza shop business and I'll be at the combine doing live shows. I know I can get the credential. It's just a matter of having the time, which at this moment, I literally have no time. Although I do have an interview scheduled for 8 a.m. today or 11 a.m. today with a potential employee. So that one employee will just come on and work 90 hours a week for me if they even show up for the interview, because that doesn't even happen. They show a lot of the combine on the NFL Network, I'm pretty sure. They show a lot of the individualized drills on the NFL Network, I'm pretty sure. Maybe their website shows it too. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure you can get a lot of that. I don't get hyped for the combine. The most exciting part of the NFL combine to me was yesterday with Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman speaking. That was literally the most exciting part for me. I don't care about the quarterback workouts. We don't need a quarterback in Philadelphia. I don't care about the 40-yard dash. I don't care about, cone drills and stuff like that. I want to watch tape on their game action. That's what I want to do. I would rather listen to them be interviewed by coaches than run drills. Just me speaking. But that's just me. Does Rick Eisen still do? I don't need to see Rich Eisen do 40-yard dashes, and I know he does do them. I don't know about every year or not, but I know he does do them. And the combine to me is an overvalued thing. And I know Deebs is probably drooling over his laptop right now, getting hyped for the combine workouts tomorrow. It's just not me. I think too much emphasis is put on the combine. I think too much emphasis is put on individual controlled environment drills. Just plain and simple is the case. Watch the film. Watch the tape. Get to know the person, whether they could be a cancer or not in your locker room, whether they're willing to work and listen and grow as an individual. Knowing if they could do the cone drill really well or not, that can't be what you choose a player on. Because that offensive lineman ran the fastest 40 in left tackle history. That's not why you draft somebody. You're not a real fan if you don't pop wood over the three. No. What? I love the comment. It's hilarious. Watch the gorge, son. What? I'm not your son. When does free agency start? March 10th is the tampering period. March 12th is the official day you could sign. So March 10th is when we'll start hearing names are going to go wherever. They can't sign their contracts till the 12th. Just so you know. I think the Eagles are allowed to sign their own free agents before March 10th. So maybe we get a Zach Bond extension before March 10th. But free agency official the 12th, 10th. So what's that? That 2 weeks away? 2 weeks away. 2 weeks from tomorrow, I guess. You could re-sign Bond today. You could. And they should. Will they? I still got this, guys. And I know people are, I tweeted this out, and I know a lot of people didn't love me tweeting this out. I got this bad feeling in my gut that Zach Bond is not going to be an Eagle next year. Just saying. Frank Gore, the longest tenured Philadelphia Eagle of all time. And that's why the tampering period is crazy. Because you can verbally agree to a contract, and then you got 2 days to change your mind. A very weird sci-fi action film about a gate to hell where East and West send contract soldiers to defend the gate called The Gorge. Okay. All right. Not my thing. Brian Thomas was best wide receiver in the draft. He's a great player. Legal tampering is still one of the funniest things in sports. It's weird. It's crazy. It gives you a chance to second guess your decisions, both as a player and a team. Now we hear players change their minds all the time in that tampering window. We don't hear teams do it as often, but it's kind of crazy. It's the weirdest thing in the world. We know they're all tampering already. We know there's people already talking to agents and cousins and next door neighbors to get information. They just, it's comical, honestly. It's just, it's like the process. The Sixers run the process and monetizing the process. The NFL monetized contract tampering by having a legal tampering period. Now they have something to put on NFL Network and everywhere to talk about it. It's really, honestly, I just figured it out. It's monetizing tampering. Plain and simple. Not overpaid linebacker? I don't know. Maybe. Was Harrison that good? Marvin Harrison Jr.? He was good. He just has a terrible quarterback. And yet the Chiefs still find a way to do it equally. Yeah. I think I figured it out. It's basically monetizing tampering. They came up with a phrase and a way to make money on something that was already happening. Oh, what's the next thing that they're going to monetize? I don't even know what it is. But I think I figured that one out right there. So it is what it is. Guys, you're watching Training the AM. Still hit that like button. Still hit that share button. Still hit that subscribe button. Tomorrow on this show, 9 a.m., NJ.com's very own Chris Franklin will be joining the show. All these Eagles topics that we've been talking about, I'll try to fit as many questions in as I can in a 20, 25-minute interview. But Chris Franklin on this show tomorrow, 9 a.m., one of the best. One of the guys that always is so gracious with his time with me here on the morning show. So you're not going to want to miss tomorrow morning. Crunch the numbers with their nerdery and their calculators. I think too much is put into Howie Roseman being the nerd. Howie Roseman's just a great GM. Anyway, so Chris Franklin tomorrow. So like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, tell everybody. This is the show you got to be at every single morning. You have to get Xander to set up Cilio. You have to get Xander to set up Cilio like Virgil Salazzo. We don't really interact with any of them. I think Xander follows me. But that's about it. Legal tampering, okay. Tush push questionable. Love the parody. They did monetize the tush push. Maybe that's also because they came up with a cool name. Instead of calling it a quarterback sneak, the NFL hates the tush push because the Eagles put the tush push on a t-shirt. Interesting. What else has been monetized and people hate because it was monetized? I'm just throwing it out there. Pretty much every single one of Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni's cliche quotes have been monetized. Maybe that's why the league and the fan base across the world hate the Eagles so much, because the Eagles monetize every little thing that they got. We got flower shirts for sale. We got, every cliche from Nick Sirianni on a t-shirt, and Jalen Hurts. Maybe. The great Eagles running back Gore is a great example of tampering time shenanigans. It is. It is. Was it last year that there was a big name that changed his mind late? I want to say there was one last year, too. I'm not sure. Didn't the Packers monetize the Super Bowl trophy and that place being Titletown? Yeah. Look at Pat Riley. Not Michael Jordan. Pat Riley. He literally patented the phrase three-peat. So whenever a team, if the Eagles go on to win 3 straight Super Bowls, to put three-peat on a shirt, they'd have to pay Pat Riley. It's all about monetizing. It's America. Isn't that what we do? We do everything to make money. We don't do things for free. Yet, when you monetize something, you normally become hated for it. It's like Howie Roseman patented or put in a request to have the phrase, I bleed green, so he can own that phrase. Because of I don't know if you guys saw him. He's got a little scar from that beer can on his forehead. It's like, prison scar right there for him. I'm surprised I haven't seen a graphic of, Howie Roseman like in a jumper outfit from a jail cell. This year, wide receiver draft stinks. Maybe. I don't know. I guess. I saw, what's his name's mock draft yesterday, Mel Kiper. Guy works 2 months a year. Gets everything wrong, but works 2 months a year. And he's got only 2 quarterbacks being taken in the first round, which is crazy because it's been a while since that's been the case. A lot of defensive linemen, a lot of offensive linemen, few running backs, but that's about it there. Guys, we got to start the wrap-up process. Tomorrow, again, Chris Franklin on the show. We'll continue the Eagles talk for sure. Maybe if Marshawn's in early enough, we'll bring back the Sixers conversation. So he gets in on the Sixers conversation. Never got to my Phillies perfect lineup today. I did come up with the perfect lineup configuration, in my opinion, for the Phillies this year. Maybe we'll bring that up tomorrow. Didn't do a mock draft today. We got plenty of time to do failures of mock drafts, but we'll get into that tomorrow as well. So all that's on the table this week. Again, there's no such thing as value. I give you the amount of minutes that I want to give you on a given day. There's no start time. There's no out time. Whatever time I want to cut it off, that's when I cut it off. So, unless you're paying my bills, I go as long as I want to go. Phil, before you leave, what you streaming? What do you mean, like TV show? Not watching anything right now. Got to start the new season of Jack Reacher, but I might wait till there's more than 3 episodes released to do that. Sixers suck. What is there to discuss? Breaking hips to fix pain. The what if, what should have been with Joel Embiid. That's what there is to talk about. Should they trade Tyrese Maxey this offseason? There's that, too. That'll piss people off if I ever tweet that out. God, I get so much crapped on sometimes. That one would really, really take the cake when I tweet that one out. But, whatever. All right, guys. It's time to say goodbye to friends and family. Travis Hunter, read about him. Maybe. If I want to. We'll see. But everybody have a great day. Please like, share, subscribe. We need to run Cilio out of business. So I need you guys to do that. But going everywhere, telling everyone to subscribe to this channel, to watch this show, to get this show to the next level. I need each and every one of you to do that, guys. So please like, share, subscribe. Yes, that is correct. Gave a strong description yesterday after Fairway to Heaven. They were asking me, the crew, what that means. So it's a very meaningful thing to me. But anyway, with that being said, everybody have a great day. We're back tomorrow with Chris Franklin at 8 a.m. He'll be joining at 9 a.m. Show at 8 a.m. Guys, go Birds. And bubbles up. Woo!
pop 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 julep, pop 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 julep, pop 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 julep, pop